What's the next story we have?
This is the George Lucas reportedly down to return to Star Wars, but wants full control. Yeah, here it is.
George Lucas wants Star Wars back.
He wants it back.
You're not getting it.
He's not getting it. There's no way.
Maybe.
I haven't seen the last one. I'm kind of.
Oh, dude, we're gonna rag on Star Wars right now.
I can't. I really want to see the
No, you
last
don't.
one.
No, you don't.
I don't. I do.
It's sad, man.
Is it sad as in like
No, like what happened
crying?
to Star Wars is sad.
Or really?
Yeah. You saw The Last Jedi?
I saw The Last Jedi. That's the second one of the last three, right?
I'm not gonna prompt you. What did you think about it?
Well, I know we've kind of already talked about it a little bit.
I'm waiting to get mad at you.
I liked it.
No,
I
no,
did.
no, no,
I
no,
did.
no.
I
That movie was
liked it.
terrible.
All
right, well, let's read a little bit of this.
I want to know if people liked it or not. Did you guys?
Everyone
did you guys
hates
like
it.
it?
Everyone's gonna say they hate it, but there's a delay on the super chat, so we'll have to wait.
I thought it was good.
Nah, that's because you're wrong.
Maybe
let's see what's going on with George Lucas.
Let's see. There's no secret that George Lucas hasn't always been the biggest fan of what Disney's done with their Star Wars sequel trilogy. In fact, the studio's even been pretty open about the fact that the filmmaker was vocally opposed to their approach to the beloved sci-fi franchise. In his book, The Ride of a Lifetime, Lessons Learned from 15 Years as CEO of the Walt Disney Company, for instance, Bob Iger explains that Lucas felt there weren't enough visual or technical leaps forward in J.J. Abrams' The Force Awakens. Not only that, but Lucas was also notably absent from the premiere of The Rise of Skywalker. And while you can be certainly understand why he's taken issue with some of the recent movies, it seems both parties are hoping to soon get back in bed together.
That's one way to put it.
I guess so.
Yeah.
That's interesting. It's like, I mean, why? I don't see Disney ever letting go.
I mean,
of that.
first of all, they beat the thing to death,
They're gonna keep beating it.
and
together.
and now they're like, we're not losing our money. How much do we spend on this?
Yeah. How much was it? The deal?
I don't know, billions.
Yeah, it was
was
like
it multiple? Well, actually, they might say so. Let's do this. Can I not? Okay. I can actually read it because I can use the studio to actually read it. So it says,
You got it?
yeah, a few weeks ago, we told you that Lucasfilm wants George to return and help out with the franchise in more of an official capacity, following his assistance with the aforementioned Rise, which was done more as a favor to JJ than anything else. And while it's still unclear if it'll happen, we've now received another update on the situation. So this is coming from WeGotThisCovered.com. They say, where was it just? According to sources close to We Got This Covered, the same ones who informed us that, spoilers would die in The Rise of Skywalker. All right, well, we'll just leave it there. And that spoilers would be revealed as a traitor in the film. They're not going to name it, so fine, whatever.
Good, because I haven't seen it yet.
Months before the movie hit theaters, Lucas has said he'll return, but only if he has full creative control over the next franchise. From what we're told, he thinks the studio has made a mess of it and feels he needs a great amount of control to get back. Not only that, but he also wants to bring along Dave Filoni, responsible for the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels. Okay, that's a good call. Those series were good. I hear
good things about that.
I didn't watch a whole lot of Clone Wars. I actually hear bad things about Rebels. I don't know, though.
I don't know Rebels, but the Clone Wars I hear is a really good show.
Yeah, definitely. They say he wants to bring him back with him to help turn things around, with the idea being to have the fan favorite act as George's right-hand man. That all being said, our sources who also revealed the big Palpatine twist in Rise way back in September say there's some resistance from Disney in regards to George's proposal, and understandably so. After all, Kathleen Kennedy is still the boss over at Lucasfilm. That's a huge mistake. I'm saying that, for now at least. And while they would love to have Lucas involved again, they want him as more of an advisor consultant. It'd still be an official role, and he'd be very involved in future projects, but they're not willing to give full creative control at this time. And that's where things stand for now. If we had to guess, George Lucas will eventually make his way back to Star Wars, but in what capacity remains to be seen. With Kennedy very likely on her way out, though, and Marvel Studios' Kevin Feige also said to be interested in taking over the sci-fi property, you can expect some major changes for the brand in the next few years. I figured out what's wrong with Star Wars.
What is it?
All right, first of all, there was this really great meme on Reddit. I think it was from Lord of the Ring memes. Do you know Lord of the Ring memes?
No.
Like, if you browse all on Reddit, you'll see a ton of, like, Star Wars memes, Lord of the Ring memes. And there was one that said, Imagine Lord of the Rings was sold to Disney, and the producer said, we're going to retcon and basically erase The Hobbit, The Silmarillion, and all of the other, J.R. Tolkien, properties.
Yeah.
And we're only going to have it be about the original, Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers, and Return of the King.
Yeah.
And then we're going to expand from those stories and ignore everything else. And then they killed off Bilbo and Frodo, and they added in some like weird new characters. You'd probably be upset.
Yeah, I think so.
But I figured it out. I figured out exactly what the problem with Star Wars is. There's no structure. There's no functioning continuity. Like there kind of is, but it's not just like, listen, you know what really bothered me about what they started doing with Star Trek? Were you a big fan of Star Trek?
Yeah.
So after I think what was it, like Deep Space Nine, all of a sudden they started doing prequels.
Well, what, like Enterprise?
Enterprise.
I liked Enterprise. It was a pretty good show.
It wasn't bad.
I liked it.
Okay, but then they did what came after Enterprise? Was it Discovery?
I don't know if there's. Yeah, I don't think there
Discovery?
is something between. Yeah, Discovery.
But it's another prequel.
The new one, yeah.
It's another prequel. So that takes place, I think.
It is. You're right.
Yeah, it's another prequel.
Another prequel, yeah.
And so, I'm getting angry. So now they did Picard. I haven't watched it. I've actually heard bad things.
Oh, really?
I'm worried. Yeah. We
can
can talk about.
Sucks.
We can talk about.
I hope it's good.
We'll talk about that. We'll get to that after we talk about what's wrong with Star Wars.
Oh yeah, go.
I don't know what any of these movies have to do with anything. Like when you watch the Marvel Cinematic Universe, when you read the comics, there's somewhat of a continuity.
Yeah.
Now, like Marvel comics and like DC comics in general have been around for so long, things started to get messed up and confusing.
Yeah.
Because there's just too much writing going on.
Right.
But at least in the MCU, there have been continuity errors, but for the most part, there's a general flow. If you've seen the movies, then you'll understand certain things.
Yeah.
And so it feels like every time you see a new movie, something's being added to the story that you understand.
Right.
When I watch the new Star Wars movie, I'm like, what is this? Nothing makes sense anymore. I don't want to spoil things for you because you haven't seen the last one yet.
No, I haven't.
Here's what I'll say. Force Awakens, it's okay. C+. It was basically a shot-for-shot remake of A New Hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's okay.
That's okay.
It's okay if they wanted to establish this in a new way with new characters. Rise, the Last Jedi.
Yeah.
I think Rian Johnson was intentionally trying to destroy Star Wars. I think it was on purpose. Dude, and you would agree with me if you saw the last movie.
Really?
You saw The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I did.
He killed the main antagonist. There's nothing left. You win. Bad guy's dead. So what is it? There's nothing there.
Well, and then he becomes the main bad guy, though.
I'm gonna have to spoil stuff for you.
Oh man, don't spoil it for me.
There's no bad guy.
Oh my gosh.
No, they're. I'm not gonna. This is not a spoiler. What I'm about to tell you.
Yeah.
Palpatine's the bad guy.
Okay.
There's already in the commercials.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
No, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So they brought back Palpatine because Rian Johnson basically ruined the plans.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened where JJ left, but then I started looking at like Mandalorian. I hear it's good.
I hear it's good too.
I'm not gonna watch it.
No?
I'm not gonna watch it. You know why?
It's a prequel.
It's a prequel. Oh man, great. None of these stories have anything to do with the development, character development, story development, character development, development of the Jedi, anything. It's like, it's just all they're doing is making a sci-fi and slapping a brand on it and being like, it's Star Wars.
You know what I would want to see? I would want to see a show about the Grey Jedi. Do you know what the Grey Jedi are?
They got rid of all that stuff. It's all gone.
Really?
Yeah, Disney just got rid of it all.
So,
yes.
So the lore of Star Wars is gone.
Gone. The extended universe was wiped out because Disney was like, we're better. Imagine if when like Disney acquired Marvel, they're like, all those comics? Yeah, we're getting rid of those.
No more comics.
The movies are now the only canon.
Wow.
Like, I get it. The original Star Wars was the original Star Wars.
Yeah.
But there was so much created in the extended universe. Like, did you ever play Knights of the Old Republic?
A little bit. I know
that game is so good.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago.
That
I played
was a good game.
It was like an RPG, and you could be like light or dark. It's awesome.
Yeah. It was ahead of its time.
Yeah, man. All that stuff, the Old Republic, I don't even know if it exists anymore. Like
I bet people still play that game.
Well, there's the MMO, which apparently is still canon, I guess. It's called, I think it's the Old Republic, the Star Wars The Old Republic. Is that what it is?
The new one?
The MMO that people play. It's like a clone of Warcraft.
Oh, I'm not sure.
But you know what, man? I liked Rogue One. And I was okay.
I liked Rogue One too. Yeah.
Here's the thing: the prequels, like the legit prequels with like Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan. I actually liked them. I didn't think that.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
I actually like them.
Really?
You didn't like them at all?
Episode 1, 2, and 3.
1 I thought was corny, and I'm like, whatever, popcorn flick. 2 was C+. You know, if it was on TV, I'd watch it. Revenge of the Sith, I do like, and I would rewatch. You know, I think a lot of the dialogue was corny.
Yeah.
I think they're not like the best movies in the world or anything.
Yeah.
Sequel trilogies are trash, gutter trash, throw in the trash. They did so much wrong. And it was really funny too, because you know what I can't stand more than anything? Fakeness. Be honest with me.
Yeah.
But they can't do it because it's all about money. So when Mark Hamill started doing the press tour for, you know, the Last Jedi, he was miserable.
Was he?
Like, you can see the clips where he's like, I can't believe they would do this to me. And then later on, he's like, I really like the movie. No, you don't. We know it. You hated it.
You hated it.
But they turned Luke Skywalker into a whiny baby who gave up on it. Like, it's, you know what, man? I get the idea. Subvert expectations. That's what Rian Johnson wanted to do. I really think he tried to destroy it on purpose. But I don't even blame Rian Johnson for the most part. I think he ruined the sequels. But the bigger problem is that every single time something comes out, it takes place at a random point in time in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
There's no development. Nothing's happening. I don't know what's going on. And then all of a sudden it's like, here's a random plot point from 75 years before this thing happened. And I'm like, what? I don't care.
Yeah, who cares about
that? Where's the story development?
Yeah.
Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm biased. But they started doing the same thing with Star Trek. So, like, we had The Next Generation.
Well, did you like the new movies?
Yes.
I like them also.
But that's real. The new movies were complicated because there was like a dispute over property rights and merchandising rights, and so they created a separate timeline. I think that's dumb.
They did it like well though. It wasn't cheesily done. They like did it in a way that is pretty cool.
It was much more like the original series than The Next Generation.
Okay.
It was more action packed. So actually, not necessarily true, because the original series did have a lot of low budget, like philosophical, technological stuff. But The Next Generation was episodic, and it was kind of like each episode, not every episode, but many episodes would ask a philosophical question based, with like this platform where they could explore all these different planets. And so it was like you go to one planet where it was ruled by women, like what would things be like? And that's what they get to do. They could explore these ideas.
Right.
And the show was decently progressive. Like they did one episode about, was Data a real life form? Or was he just property?
Right.
And they have a trial about it. It was called like the Make of a Man or something like that.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
There was one episode where Data asks Picard about terrorism. And he was like, if terrorism is so bad, how come throughout history it's worked? And Picard's like, that's a good question. We struggle with it every day.
Yeah.
But he says, I don't subscribe to the belief that political power is derived from the barrel of a gun. So it was a very profound show. And then they did, Deep Space Nine, and they did Voyager.
Voyager, right.
These kind of carried on and kept the story moving. And then it ended with the Dominion War, and then prequel. And then we got prequel. And then we got movies. And everyone's like, the movies are back. And then they're like, alternate timeline.
Alternate timeline.
Yeah. So now what I'm hearing about Picard is that it's like, Patrick Stewart said it's a response to Trump and Brexit.
Seriously?
Yeah, and it's about like a refugee crisis or something.
Oh my goodness.
So like in the alternate timeline reality, they said something like Romulus exploded. The problem with that is that in the movies, Spock is like, hundreds of years from now, Romulus will explode or whatever.
We'll go supernova, right?
The sun
star will.
So then what happened in the Picard show where it's like 50 years later, something happened? Like, I don't understand what's going on. I didn't watch it, though. I want to be fair. I didn't watch it because I just kind of feel like, I don't know. Like, it's not the same thing. They're slapping Star Trek brand on a different show about different things. And they're trying to make it overly political, too. So I'm just, at this point, I don't know. We'll wrap up this sci-fi talk segment. I just think, I think what these companies are doing is they're bringing on people who aren't fans, who don't know the lore. And I look at Warcraft, for instance, and like I look at the job requirements for their lore writers, and it's like, be a fan, know our lore.
That's pretty important.
Right. So could you imagine if Warcraft brought somebody on to write for them, and they had no idea who any of the characters were, so they were like, most people, I don't know how many people know anything about Warcraft, but they're like, and then Jaina Proudmoore pulled her axe from the tree and jumped 20 feet and yelled for the Horde.
Yeah.
People would be like, Jaina is a mage for the Alliance and wouldn't have an axe. What are you talking about? It just makes no sense.
Right.
That's what I feel like is happening. It's like somebody just got a writing job because their friend was like, hey, you want to write? You could write. Like, yeah. What's Star Wars? I don't know. I'll figure it out.
All right, write a story.
But I really do think, I'll end it with this. I think J.J. Abrams did it on purpose. Because Kylo says, let the past die. Kill it if you have to. So now George is like, no. No, don't let it die.
No.
Give it back.
Give it back to me.
You know, it'd be really funny.
I want control.
I would love to see like George Lucas, like a, I don't know, skit where he's clawing at like, you know, Disney going like, my precious. You know, trying to like,
Yeah.
nah, you gave it up, buddy. It's gone.
You did.
Hope the money was worth it.